Migration alongside gateway is one of the most anticipated features that will potentially come in Update 7. Yes, I know the devs don't number their updates anymore, but it is my choice to do so. This new mechanic may very well add a new fundamental component to the isle that might not only fix some of its current issues, but also enhance its gameplay in a meaningful way. The system has been teased for quite a long time at this point, but now I believe we have enough information available to at least get an idea of what we can expect from this so hyped mechanic. But before that, let's first establish what we do know about it to begin with. In essence, this is a herbivore-focused seasonal event. Here's how they work. Whenever a migration season begins, plant eaters will be able to send their migratorial zones at all times, which will guide them to that exact location. These areas are species specific and correspond to the locales where their species' food source inhabits. For example, Tononto's diet consists of mountain ash, potato roots, and radish roots, all found in either highlands or river delta. I know this will change in Gateway, but the concept is the same. This would mean that Tononto's areas will always be one of those two options, because there is where their diet food is more prevalent. Furthermore, during seasons, the quantity of the food available there increases, offering extra resources which in turn will make growing a lot easier for herbivores. Once the majority of said food is consumed, another migratory zone will be assigned and its leftovers will despawn around 30 minutes after the new area is marked. It is not certain if the seasons begin immediately after the previous one ends or if there's a cooldown of sorts between them, but reading the developers' posts I'm leaning more to the former. One thing to note is that these areas can and will overlap with each other. However, some particular dinos will purposefully never overlap with other specific species, with Pekis and Stegos being the example given. Keep in mind that this is not set in stone and components of this mechanic can change over time or even before its release, so take this information with a pinch of salt. So this is pretty much everything that we know about it so far, a pretty straightforward system with a very specific goal. But now let's analyze it a little bit deeper. One of the major questions we should be asking is what is the main purpose of the migration system to begin with? Well, for this one I don't even need to answer it since the devs themselves did that for me months ago, stating, and I quote, "It's basically designed to keep species moving around to areas you'd expect to find them in." End quote. This confirms that migrations are more or less an adjacent element to diets, since both share the same objective and both are intertwined with one another in terms of their functionality. This is a good example of two separate features having a symbiotic relationship rather than a parasitic one. Both benefit from the existence of each other, and even though those benefits aren't equal on both ends, it is good to see the addition of new gameplay components cooperate with older ones to create a better experience rather than taking it away. Before taking any conclusions though, we need to understand that this mechanic is very level dependent, meaning that the map the game uses can affect migrations in both its efficiency and engagement rate. And due to that, coming alongside Gateway is a rather smart move in my opinion. That map is an extremely anticipated feature for the game and has a lot of potential on multiple fronts as far as we know, especially lore-wise since human structures will finally be an actual aspect of the map when it comes to its interactability and narration implications. Besides, I think most of us would agree that having migrations in Spiro would be 100% worse than Gateway by the map alone. On another note, while this does not directly affect carnivores, meat eaters will now have a more consistent and predictable way to encounter herbivores. This actually promotes memorization and game knowledge from their part. If a carno player knows where Pekis migratorial routes and destinations are, They can go there in advance and prepare an ambush more easily, or at the very least travel to those locations knowing with a high degree of certainty that they will in fact find what they are looking for. It creates an expectation that before wouldn't be possible, or at best, vastly unreliable. So even though the mechanic itself is only directly interactable by a portion of the entire player base, the way it functions allows everyone to enjoy the game more due to it in one way or another. But is this effective though? Will this cause people to move around more frequently as they intended to happen? The answer is more likely yes. The benefit of having a stable, reliable and resourceful food source would probably be enough reason for most people to engage with this mechanic in the long term. Not to mention that the whole system will also cause people to encounter each other more often, which in turn will eventually lead into more frequent hunting, and knowing how most herbivores are, myself included, that's more of a positive than anything. However, I'm still not 100% certain of the actual outcome of the introduction of this feature and how it will affect the game's enjoyment. And when I say I'm not certain, I really mean it. I have no idea what's going to happen. Back when nesting was about to be released, I praised it, stating that it was a straight and massive improvement from Legacies, but fast forward to today and nobody nests at all. That will be a topic for another video, but what I mean by this is that regardless if the premise of a mechanic is highly positive, we never know for sure how it will turn out until it is exposed to the public. So we need to be cautious whenever we discuss about future content. And migration is a special case considering that we will experiencing it for the first time on a brand new map, so our initial impressions will for sure be positive. But will it be because of the migration or gateway? That one is hard to guess. The major potential negative I can observe from the information that we have available, it's the artificial nature of the system itself. It's not an organic behavior dictated by the player base, it is an established event where people need to choose between going along and be rewarded for it, or refuse to cooperate with it and be punished. I'm concerned that this method can be just as frustrating as the first iteration of diets was in the past, but nevertheless, I want to see this mechanic released. This is the first time we get to see someone try this system, and in a grand scheme of things, trying things out and experiment is the best thing we can promote for the well-being and improvement of this niche genre. So even if migrations fail miserably, it was still worth it because now we know what worked and what didn't. But personally, I'm excited for it. I still believe it will succeed and meet the community's expectations and will overall be a significant and welcome addition to Evrima. But what do you guys think? Are you expecting migrations to be a net positive for the Isle? Let me know in the comments below. A huge thank you to my Patreon supporters for supporting the channel and the content I create. If you want to join the ranks, you can do so for only $1 a month. The link will be in the description. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and opinions down below. Join our Discord server for memes and Pelerinut stuff, and I hope to see you all next week.